Okay, I have a theory on why all the hottest girls are single and nobody's married yet. I figured it out. It's because before, hot women were a rare commodity. Now everyone is just way too hot. It's easy for girls to get hot, right? And now it's like when you see a desirable, high value man, they have way too many options. And girls don't have options anymore. And it's so frustrating because it's like people would kind of date in their lane, if you know what I mean. Before there was like fillers and Botox and hair and cute outfits and spray tans and all that stuff. People would date in their lane. Now everyone's hot. And no, men can't do any type of like plastic surgery or height surgery or whatever. And with women working and men working equal pay, that's also a rare thing. So, ladies, we need to figure out a way to make men suck again. Sorry, they do suck. That's my point. They do suck. We just need to even out the ratio here. We're too hot. Men need to catch up to us. You know what I mean?
Great. Talk about delusion. Why don't you just stay single? You don't need to be in a relationship. You're a strong, independent woman.
Single focus is peace. Which then illuminated why when a woman interrupts a man doing what he's doing, why you guys are so furious and don't pretend you're not. You try to get a grip on it. Not only have we diminished your ability to be productive by interrupting you, we have disrupted your peace. So I've tried to talk to him like, if a man were meditating, you could hear him chanting. Really? Would you walk in on him to say that? Like, imagine that's what he's doing. A man focused. He's in a meditation of fixing the car, repairing the sprinklers, playing a game with his son. He's at peace. Leave him at peace. And if you can't, I am sorry to interrupt. Be respectful of the impact you're having. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Her wisdom could heal society if it was applied. She is the men's whisperer. She is right. Modern women need to learn quickly that the world doesn't revolve around them. And that's why men are now protecting their peace.
Find a woman who is so selfless, who's a servant to your family, who's a servant to you, because at the end of the day, as you guys grow old and something happens, you're going to need someone who served you, who's selfless, who's going to serve you in these times of distress because life gets so difficult and hard. So find that woman, not who plays games, that's selfish and looking out for herself, who's a servant to you. And see, you know what I always say? See how somebody is to other people.
Yeah.
How does somebody always look at how, when you're going on a date and stuff, how they're acting to other people.
That's such a great...
Even like to waiters and things like that. Are they serving others? Are they selfless? A selfless heart is the first thing that you should be looking for in a woman. And if you are someone who's sitting there being like, man, I feel a little selfish in my heart, that's okay.
Yeah.
We all go through these seasons of selfishness, and that's why when you start your relationship with, like me and Angela always talk about how he is just breaking things off of us.
That's like asking the moon to turn purple and shit to turn gold. Not going to happen, at least in this century.
I'm just going to talk about this comment that was left on one of my videos. And there's quite a few men that leave similar comments to this, and this proclamation that, you know, this is why men are staying single. And this is obviously not all men, but there is a reason why men do this. And the reason that men say I'm staying single, which in other terms basically means I'm also willing to have a string of hookups that mean nothing to get my own needs satisfied, is that the reason that they do this is because they are not willing to face themselves. Any man that says, you know, I'm staying single is because they do not want to be in a situation that is causing them to face parts of themselves that have been denied, that have been repressed, where they are not taking accountability for the way that they show up in relationships. And obviously, if they're not in relationship or opening themselves up to the right person, they're not going to have this mirroring. And so by isolating and saying, you know, this is why men are staying single, it's just basically another way of saying, I don't want to face myself. Because unfortunately in Western society and sort of in the modern world, men are becoming apathetic, they're becoming more feminized. And when wounded feminine energy shows up in men, it causes them to lack accountability, to not want to take responsibility, to be flighty, to not commit to things, which is automatically a massive turn off to women that are in a healed feminine energy. And so the sorts of women that they would actually, you know, thrive in relationship with, they're not attracting anyway, because they're not opening themselves up to the possibility that actually they're the ones that are responsible for the type of women that they're actually pulling in the first place. And so it becomes this vicious cycle. But when men say, you know, that they're staying single as an act of, you know, trying to control their circumstances, the reality is underneath that they're feeling very much out of control. And because they don't have a language for communicating, you know, what's going on underneath, because no man that is in a healed masculine energy is going to make this proclamation and decide that he's going to be single for the rest of his life. Because when you look at the way that obviously masculine energy thrives in life, it is to build, it's to continuously have something to move towards, to build some sort of legacy for self, and to feel as if they're creating a foundation, you know, and building something. And so when you're saying, you know, I'm cutting off my own growth, which is obviously what comes from being in a relationship anyway, they're automatically showcasing they're not actually in their masculine. Because to get to the end of your life and basically look back and say, you know, I worked a job that was okay, that paid the bills, sat on my own money so I didn't have to pay anything, you know, for women, and, you know, got to the end of my life with a string of hookups. You look back at that as a legacy for a male, and the level of regret that would come with that is not going to feel good. So if a man makes this proclamation, then this is what he really means. And emotional fulfillment in life comes from the depth of intimacy we have with our partners, with the people that are closest to us. And when we cut ourselves off from that and the possibility of exploring that, we don't live an emotionally fulfilling life. We live a life that's filled with surface level distractions, surface level projections that don't actually lean into anything of depth. And so when a man says this, he's likely very much in his feminine, in an apathetic energy where he doesn't want to commit to things. And so within a relationship, he's not going to take accountability. This is obviously very different for a man that chooses to stay single until the right person comes along and works on himself in the meantime. This is an attribute of a healthy masculine male, and a man that's able to concentrate and focus his energy in such a way that's actually going to be really supportive and conducive once the right partner shows up, or once he's ready to take that step with the right partner. And this is the sort of dynamic and mentality that actually breeds and calls in soul connection as well, because the man is anchored into his masculine energy as opposed to dismissing the concept of relationship altogether, which is naturally a byproduct of being very wounded. And soul connection in and of itself can only come in when you are truly connected to yourself, whether you're male or female. So if you don't have a deep understanding of, you know, your own psyche, the way that you operate, of your own triggers, where you're not taking accountability and reconciling that internally, you're not actually in a position to attract in what would be like a deep soul connection anyway. So all of these things are interconnected. They all play into one another. But the difference is that when you are connected to self, you see the mirroring and the divinity in others. When you are not connected to yourself, you see through the eyes of separation, of somebody else wanting to take from you, as opposed to being with an open and generous heart that actually allows you to feel the fullness of what a relationship can actually bring for you.
So lack of accountability is feminine? Well, that certainly explains a lot about this video. They are deciding what we mean now too. And no, we are not trying to control anything. We just want some peace. It would serve the discussion better to ask men what and why, instead of telling everyone what you think about it. You know, actually try to understand their perspective.
I think women today don't understand the concept of settling. When you settle for someone, it's when a man does not meet, or a woman does not meet, your standards. Standards are minimal requirements. Like on a job, it is the minimum requirements in order to get the job. We've confused the concept of standards and preferences. So only dating men that are 6 feet and higher is not a standard, it's a preference. You don't need a 6-foot man. Or if you're dating a redhead and you prefer a blonde, blondes are preferences, not a standard. You prefer a millionaire and the guy makes 6 figures, being with a millionaire may be your preference. Again, not a standard. So when women say, oh, I had to settle with an average guy, what's wrong with that? What is average anyway anymore? Are we defining average because he doesn't have a huge following on social media? Or he doesn't drive a Lamborghini truck? Our warped understanding of what standards are is what's keeping us single. There are great men out here. You just overlooking them.
Correctly stated. And the core issue is that what the bare minimum is has been greatly skewed. So we are done. Thank you.
Feminist movement is one of the biggest reasons for the divorce rate, because women have become so masculine. A woman gets in her masculine energy. A lot of times she'll be disrespectful to her husband. And men don't do well with disrespect. There's surveys that say that 80% of men say they would rather be alone and unloved than to be disrespected. And see, the feminist movement has taken it so far over the years to, it's not just equal rights anymore. Now it's men are being diminished and devalued and demoralized. What do we need men for? We don't need men. We can buy our own cars and we can vote. We can make our own money, run our own businesses. We can even have babies without men. And that makes men feel awful. A man doesn't feel he has anything to contribute to that woman's life. He's got to move on down the road.
Women weren't meant to be masculine. They were meant to find a man she can trust, love, and take care of. But that's not the motto nowadays anymore, sadly.
I'm a 34-year-old guy, and honestly, the reason I've basically stopped dating is because the performance pressure is just getting insane. And I don't just mean on dates, I mean in bed too. It feels like from the second I match with someone, I have to prove I'm emotionally intelligent, confident, successful, funny, stable, but also vulnerable. And by the time I actually get to the date, I'm already in my head. Then when it comes to sex, the pressure is even worse. I'm always worried I won't last long enough, or stay hard, or that I just won't be good in the way she expects. It's gotten to the point where I'm so anxious about disappointing someone that I avoid getting close at all.
Men are burned out from all the dating drama. That's us all over. Spot on. Way easier to not bother anymore now.
You want to know why men over 40 are staying single? I'll tell you why. Because society raised women to be wives to careers, not husbands. And now the men who were once overlooked are watching rebellion unfold and choosing peace over chaos. These ain't excuses. These are the raw, unfiltered reasons men are walking away from modern women, and many of them don't plan on looking back. You better watch this all the way through or keep wondering why that good man ain't calling you back. Let's set the record straight. This ain't about men being bitter. This ain't about men being weak. This is about men getting wise, men getting structure, and men finally realizing what marriage has turned into and what it costs when you choose a woman who ain't built for submission, peace, or purpose. And if you're one of those women thinking, well, maybe he just can't handle a strong woman, sit tight. You're about to find out he didn't lose interest. He gained clarity. First reason, divorce destroys a man's life. Older men have seen it too many times. Good men getting gutted in court. He loses his house, he loses his pension, his legacy, and she walks away with half his world for bringing nothing but attitude to the table. Why would any man jump into a legal system designed to reward rebellion and punish masculinity?
There's no point. All risk, no reward. Stay single, get a dog, travel, and stay happy without a woman.
Thanks for watching, brothers. Remember, stay focused, stay free, and keep walking your own path.
If you found value in this video, drop a like, share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on self-mastery and independence. Until next time, walk tall, stay true.